Hey YouTube, what is going on? It is Jax here back with another video. And you may be saying, why do you have an empty deck slot here? Well, that's not going to be the theme of today's video. Today, I have completely maxed my Clash Royale account. All of the cards are upgraded, not all the star levels yet, obviously, but we are completely maxed card-wise, so I can play any deck in the game right now. And it's a good feeling. It's been a long time, 4.5 years grinding this account, and we're finally completely maxed. So in today's video, I'm going to be going over pretty much everything that I've done to max this account. And you probably are going to have heard most of what's going on, but I'm going to tell you what I did right, what I did that was really good for me, and what I did that I shouldn't have really done that wasn't very efficient towards maxing my account. And I'll also be helping you guys point out what you should be doing as well, where I went correctly and what steps you should follow where I went right, and what steps you should avoid when I went wrong, so that you can go ahead and start maxing out your Clash Royale account faster too. Make sure if you enjoy this video to drop a like on the video, comment, helps me with the YouTube algorithm, and subscribe to the channel. Means a lot. We're not getting close. We're grinding for 10k subs right now with the daily upload, so if you wouldn't mind subscribing, it would help out a lot. Without any further ado, let's get into the tips. Alright, so the first thing I want to talk about in this video is the shop. So the shop includes a ton of different things. Currently supporting creator code Surtag. Make sure if you aren't supporting your creator and you plan on making a purchase to throw one in. Surtag is a really great creator as well. I bet most of you guys know I'm supporting him right now. Anyways, continuing on, so you can buy all the gems, you can buy all these chests and emotes here, as well as the cards in the shop. So the cards in the shop are, you can buy them for a bunch of gold. And what I did was I would pretty much always buy the legendary I was upgrading out of the shop, and also I would buy the cards that I was upgrading out of the shop right here. So for commons, rares, and epics, I think it's actually a decent idea to go ahead and try and buy these cards. I'm gonna go ahead and buy that for some star points. I think it's a good idea because they're pretty cheap. Like, I just got 50 minion hordes for only like what, 250, 500 gold. It's not a terrible deal. It's not incredibly great. You can get much better deals elsewhere, but I mean, it's not the end of the world. And especially if you get these cards and it's like 40 musketeers. That's a ton of musketeers for your upgrades. And for only 4,000 gold, I would definitely recommend buying that. Legendaries though, legendaries are really expensive. So legendaries, if we go over to my clan chat, we can see that I can't trade right now, but it cost me 20,000 gold to trade a legendary I have maxed. So that means that buying a legendary here is twice as expensive as just trading a legendary you have maxed. And especially if you don't have, if you're not like a lot of legendaries maxed, you can go ahead and just trade for free while also giving away the card. So I would say if you are maybe 30% max, so you have like 30 cards maxed, maybe if you have all of your commons and like half of your rares maxed, I don't know how many cards that is, might be more than 30, but you're going to be getting a lot of gold out of the chest, especially if all the cards are max stack, which means they're ready to max. If you're that progressed, then I would say buying legendaries is a good idea. If you're not that progressed, I would say just go for wild cards and challenges. I would say just go for trophy road rewards. Just wait for the cards to come to you and use them to upgrade. You don't have to buy them out of the shop here. I would say though, if you're trying to upgrade commons, rares, and epics, to buy them out of the shop no matter what, pretty much the whole time. They're really value there. So next we go down to the chests. The chests are terrible value. Like right now, if I go to the global tournament that just ended, I could get the legendary king's test that they sell for 2,500 gems, plus what, like 50,000 gold, a magical, a giant, an epic, legendary chest, all these trade tokens, and a magic key for 5 times less than if I just bought the legendary king's chest. Same with the legendary chest. I could literally get a legendary chest for 500 gems in the shop, or I could get a legendary chest, 50,000, everything that I mentioned for 500 gems. So always avoid buying the chests in the shop, except in the rarest of occasions, the fortune chest. If you are just loaded with gems, okay, you can go ahead and buy a fortune chest if it's got a card you want. I wouldn't recommend, if you're looking to upgrade your musketeer, I wouldn't recommend this fortune, because you'd split it here between half and half, which can really cost you a lot more gems if you're going to end up buying it. But I know most of you guys probably aren't loaded like that, so I would say just avoid all of these chests, no matter the cost. It's just not very good. So the next topic here is the challenge tab. So I would recommend doing every single special challenge, pass or not pass, every single special challenge, at least attempt it. There's so much value. I've already completed it, so I can't look at the rewards, but this one had like 15,000 gold, a wild card, each of the wild cards, a goblin drill. It's got so many cards. You should definitely go for that, and definitely see if you can get some of that juicy rewards there, especially some of the challenges they can put out, like 50,000 gold, 2 legendary chests, ton of cards, giant chests, all of those. You should be really looking forward to those. and making sure you're playing in every single one of them. Now, the global tournament has really great rewards on the free path too, like a ton of trade tokens, which are really valuable. You should always be using your trade tokens unless you're maxed. And then the paid rewards, in my opinion, they are the most value, if not the second most value you can use to your gem zone. I would always recommend, if you have 500 gems and you're not confident in grand challenges, to buy these. These are so good. The rewards are so much value compared to what you can get these same things for. I already mentioned the shop. Always, always, always go ahead and get those rewards. They're going to be so good for you. Now, if you're at a top level in the game, so this is going to apply to almost the very few people, because this is like 0.1% of the entire game that can win a grand challenge. Grand challenges are more value because they're going to be giving you 22,000 cards and gold, and 1,100 cards for a 100 gems, basically $1. So if you were to end up doing the global tournament right here, you would get I don't know, you would get like, I don't know, this gives like 250 cards, 100 cards, couple hundred cards right there. You would be getting less than 1,000 cards from the entire GT rewards. You'd be getting more specific cards, and you'd be getting less gold. If you were to win 5 grand challenges instead, you would get 100 and some thousand gold. I think 110,000, just quick mathing. You get like 5,000 cards. You'd be looking really good. It's definitely a much better value if you are able to completely win grand challenges to go for them. Now, value in a grand challenge or a classic challenge to get your gem's worth of cards back is like 6 wins, I think. I'm not completely sure, but you want to be aiming for about 6 wins. 9 wins is where you really start getting much better value than you're putting in. You're getting much better value out than what you're putting in. So you should always be looking to go for one of these challenges if you can get 6 or more. And then Pass Royale. If you are going to spend any amount of money on this game, you need to be putting it into Pass Royale first. This is just the most possible value you can ask for. You can max, if you have like level 10 or 11 cards, and you are able to go and win like a grand challenge or two, you can almost max your entire deck just off Pass Royale. All these wild cards, all of these chests. I have friends who buy Pass Royale and play like 3 GCs a month, saying that they can max a deck on an account with like all level 11s just with 1 month of Pass Royale. This is insane value. You need to be buying Pass Royale if you're playing enough and you're putting money in. If you're being a free-to-play player, I would still say go ahead and try and get these. These rare books are super good. And then that will bring me on to the final thing, which is maybe not the final thing. I'm just if something comes into my mind, I'll go over it. Magic items. So obviously you want to be trying to save your magic items for the biggest upgrade, which is 12 to 13, but not many of you guys are able to go from 12 to 13 yet. So if you're not able to go from 12 to 13, try and get to the next level. Try and get it from 11 to 12. I would not recommend using it from anything 10 to 11, 9 to 10, anything below that. I would not recommend using it. The only thing I would recommend using the books on is if you're not planning on maxing the card quite yet, then 11 to 12 is fine, but 12 to 13 is the biggest value. A legendary going from 0 out of 20 to 20 out of 20 is absolutely insane. That used to take months. That used to take like 6 months back in the old days. Now it takes, before the magic items came out, it was like 2 months, I think, to get a legendary from 0 to 20. Now you can do it in 2 seconds. It's huge value. You need to be trying to look for that when you can. And wild cards, obviously, use the wild cards on the cards. They're self-explanatory. You should be just using them on the cards you want to upgrade. So actually, this isn't the last thing, right? So I don't have any max stacks left. I'm completely maxed, but you should be aiming to go all in on requests to max stack your cards. So that means getting your cards like 1,800 out of 800 for your level 11s, or 1,000 out of 1,000 for your level 13 rares, or whatever. Stuff like that. If you can max stack a card, what it's going to do is when you max out a card completely, the chest won't give you that card as much. It's harder to get maxed cards in chest than it is to get cards that aren't maxed, even if the maxed cards are max stacked. So you can upgrade them with gold, but the game still thinks, oh, you still need more of those cards to get upgraded, so it'll give you those cards more. You'll basically be getting more gold, especially if you can fully max stack your commons and rares. Almost every chest will start giving you gold, and you're going to notice much faster progression as soon as you start maxing out those cards, because you'll be getting the gold. And I think the fastest max out, I was maxing like 5 or 10 cards a month with like the last couple of months, last like 3 months. Because of this, I had every card max stacked except my legendaries, so I was getting so much gold out of this chest, and I was just being able to go ahead and get those cards really quickly and the gold really quickly. So that's that kind of thing. I always recommend going for max stacks. Here I just kind of traded to get some star points. I wanted to star point my princess. I like all the legendary star points. That's just me. Anyways, on to the main stuff. So trade tokens. dude, if you have like 25 to 30 cards maxed, I would recommend it. Like, if you have your main favorite decks maxed, I would recommend, and you just don't really care about maxing out a bunch of different cards, I would recommend going for, sorry, I think my gameplay is lagging. Hopefully it's not lagging too much. I would recommend going for, I would recommend going to try and trade for gold. So what I mean by this is, like, you throw up a request and you want to get 250 arrows, and you give away a card that's kind of useless, like, I don't know, trying to find a useless card, maybe like, let's see, what card is useless out of these? Maybe like Rascals, because they're not very popular. Maybe like Recruits if you don't use them, stuff like that. And you can get so much gold off of them. It's going to be really, really good for you. So I'm sorry if the gameplay is lagging at this point. Hopefully it's not lagging too bad, but if it is, that's on me. I will try and fix that for the rest of the video, or maybe for the next video. But yeah, you should always, if you like have a bunch of cards maxed, it's definitely a good idea to try and look to get gold, because gold is going to become scarce. I was completely max stacked on my commons, rares, and epics for close to a year. Not close to a year. I had my commons max stacked for a whole year before now. And then, like, I had all of my rares max stacked like 8 months ago, epics 6 months ago. Gold was the biggest problem. I was having so much trouble getting gold. So if you can do this, I would say definitely once you have all of your favorite decks and cards maxed out, if you have a bunch of useless cards and you just want to upgrade some other cards that are more useful, then go ahead and trade those away for gold. It's going to be good. Okay, so the last topic I want to cover is a more accessible option for most players, which is classic challenges. These cost 10 gems. I've made a video on it. It's my most popular video. Classic challenges are actually good value. They're just slightly less proportionally valuable than grand challenges, and they're 10 times cheaper, which means they have basically 10 times less rewards. It's going to take a long time to grind out classic challenges. However, you can be confident that even though it's slow, putting 10 gems into a classic challenge for a 12-win is also almost as good as a grand challenge. So I would recommend, if you can't do a grand challenge, but you're willing to grind quite a bit, classic challenges are a good way to improve. And then just for general improvement at ladder, once you start maxing these cards, or at the game once you start maxing these cards, I would definitely try and push the ladder as high as you can. Going as high as you can on ladder will really put you up against better players and allow you to improve with the decks. So that's going to about wrap it up for this kind of video. Hopefully you enjoyed this. A little bit different than what I do normally, but I wanted to share you guys how I was able to do this. And yeah, I will catch you guys in the next video.